Remember, I just kept saying, oh, I'm ready, my body's ready, I just want to carry a baby, which is all great and nice, etc. But I believe that there were many questions that I could have asked myself, and many questions that I wish that I was privy to before pursuing this entire journey of becoming a mother. Hi, I'm Clay Dara, and welcome to my channel. Here I share insights and actionable advice on everything from personal development to your spiritual journey to meaningful relationships and just creative entrepreneurship. So I hope you enjoy this topic. Let me know what you think. Subscribe if you already aren't subscribed, and enjoy the video. I actually miss talking to a camera. Like, I can't believe how excited I am, but it's so great to be here. The camera I'm using this time around it's the first time I'm using this camera, and I actually hope that it's recording and we'll eventually have these videos ready. My studio is a mess. I just dragged a corner. I hope it's not obvious. And like, if you're meeting me for the first time, I am a mom to a 3-year-old and also a wifey. So I have times where I come on here and I just talk about like mommyhood and relationship, marriage, etc. So today, I don't know, I've just always felt like I needed to talk about this. We've passed on jokes, especially on our couples channel, where we just talk about, oh, I'm pregnant, or, oh, Aka will say, I can't wait to have another baby. And I've always just sounded very, resistant to the idea completely. And this is because I have personal thoughts regarding having a second child or even having a child in the first place. Another reason why I felt the need to put out this video is because at the time when I was desiring to have a baby, I didn't really see any content like this, where it actually helps me think past my hormones and my emotions. Because I remember I just kept saying, oh, I'm ready, my body's ready, I just want to carry a baby, which is all great and nice, etc. But I believe that there were many questions that I could have asked myself, and many questions that I wish that I was privy to before pursuing this entire journey of becoming a mother. Every time I get the opportunity to talk to someone who is just new or really desiring to have a baby, I really remind them that having a child is not just like a fanciful thing now. It is literally an assignment. Motherhood is an assignment. And personally, I don't think anyone should literally just dive into it anyhow just because they have the opportunity to have a working ovary or working uterus. I think that it needs to be a thoughtful, intentional process when it comes to bringing a baby into this world. There is a scripture in Proverbs that says, children born to a man are like arrows in the hands of a warrior. So imagine, like, this is arrows, guys. You're thinking arrows are meant to target, arrows are meant to kill, arrows are meant to are sent for a specific purpose. Arrows can be purposeful and can also be dangerous. So imagine arrows in the hands of a foolish person, an unprepared person. Like, you have to be a warrior to have a child, guys. So if you really see yourself as not being a warrior, I also understand how, like, once you enter motherhood, you kind of wake up to a lot of these things, especially people who find themselves pregnant and are really unprepared. On through the journey, they get prepared, etc. But I'm here to just give you questions and things to think about, a few tips, about 10 points to think about as you prepare for pregnancy. Another disclaimer, this video obviously is targeted at people who are trying to have a baby because they have a husband. I would not really recommend bringing a child into a home where the father and mother figure are not, there. Obviously, there are scenarios where it's impossible or it just seems to be unfortunately that way. In a very ideal situation, I will hope and pray that you're trying to bring a child into that kind of balanced environment. Are you really ready to have a baby? I mean, what does it even take to have a baby? What are the requirements? First, I would urge you to do like a personal, like a self-assessment. You need to really evaluate if you are mentally stable enough to have a child. You need to reflect on your current life situation, look around you. Is this an environment for a child? You could also discuss your readiness with your partner or with the people around you that are encouraging you to have this child. Are you ready when you think about it mentally? Are you emotionally stable for a child? This is another human being that you would actually need to be like a safe place for mentally and emotionally. So if you're not financially your own, Another point is your relationship readiness. The relationship, and maybe let's imagine the marriage that you're in. Is it would you say that you could get support? Like, you don't want to be the only parent. I know how it feels like sometimes when, it could just feel like you're married but you're a single mother. Like, I know people that are experiencing this. I've experienced it even sometimes where I feel like I'm carrying the entire burden, and that thing can literally lead to some sense of resentment, you know? So you need to always ask yourself, is your relationship stable and supportive? Have you gotten to that point in your relationship where both of you are completely aware that, hey, ride or die, we move with this till death do us part, you know, and like, you know that you will not just be carrying the entire burden of a child all by yourself. Even in this relationship, both of you need to be very open with your communication. You need to start discussing like how your parenting is going to be. Talk even about your traumas from parenting and discuss the things that both of you agree that you're not going to be doing. This is even before you sow the seed in your womb. Like before you get that girl pregnant, you guys need to actually discuss how you're going to parent. If you need to get books on parenting, get those books. If you need to watch YouTube videos, you just like this one, continue watching, grow your knowledge, you know, on parenting and how it is for the first month, second month, even during the pregnancy. The pregnancy is one thing, and then after the pregnancy is another thing. For a lot of women, they always say like postpartum is even more trying than the actual pregnancy. If you've never heard that before, you're welcome. Another point is a reliable support system, especially if you are not in Nigeria or in a place where you can easily reach mommy and daddy and drop the kids here and there. If you're far away from family and you're you know, ending up doing things all by yourself, you really have to think about how you're going to find support system. It's either it's going to be paid for, or you might have to determine by yourself that there's no support system, and so you're carrying this burden by yourself, you and your husband. So I know even like when you're in Nigeria and you have aunties, mommies, you want to go for that date night even after having the baby, it's very convenient to just drop the child or drop the kids there and just do you. And there's sometimes where you're just generally overstimulated and you need help. You know, obviously there's even the omugo period where you literally cannot do many things yourself, and there are very limited things that your husband can do for you. So guys, I will really need you to think about that kind of support system around you. How are you going to get it? How are you going to plan for it? You know, because I know that at some point it will be important. And the truth is, most of the times, it doesn't even have to be only family that will be around you, you know, that can actually even be your support system. You can have friends, your co-workers. That's why you need to be nice. That's why you need to be a good person generally, so that you can find help around you. If you're even in a community like a church, you can have people in church who are willing to help you. People who even probably already even have kids who know more about this thing than you do. Another point that I'd like to talk about is your career, so your work-life balance. You know, in Nigeria, there are not many laws about how a pregnant woman would retain her job or even the life after being pregnant. Generally in the world, once a woman gets pregnant, she has lesser chances, especially if you're working in a community or you're working in a space that is mainly male dominated. Like think about it, like architecture. It's one of the things I didn't like. I felt like a lot of women had to become very manly and, you know, kind of drag that, you know, thing with men. And when they get to a point that they're even pregnant, the men are low-key rejoicing because they can't wait to have this woman leave the office and obviously upgrade in their in their roles, and you just maybe take her spot or whatever. And we watch all those like, you know, Hollywood movies where they show like little snippets of what society really thinks about when it comes to a pregnant woman and her career. Like these two things, you really need to think about them and see how you sort it out. So if you're privileged to be in a situation where your husband is catering to the finances completely, you're not doing any work, I celebrate you. Another thing about like work life is babies are actually very hands-on, especially if you want to become a very intentional mother, or you're very, you know, interested in nurturing and doing it appropriately, like watching what they eat and, you know, communicating, helping with communication, and just kind of watching their general like development and following through to make sure that they're doing what they're meant to be doing, etc. It really is a lot of time. It really is a lot of your emotions. And so I don't know how you'll be able to balance that with work. With myself though, I remember like literally a month after I gave birth, I went right back to work, and I could because I work for myself. I am a freelancer. So I immediately was doing like illustrations for a New York publisher, and because again it's remote work, I could do it conveniently, maybe when I'm breastfeeding and, you know, sketching my ideas, etc. But many people don't have the same type of, you know, career path. And so if your work requires you like being in an office, being like a secretary or a teacher or a nurse, like, bro, I don't know how you're gonna do it. I don't have the answers. But I can only get you to think about your plan. Maybe have some savings ahead or something. When I said I was coming back on YouTube, you guys had doubted me. I really hope you are ashamed right now. One thing that I always talk about with the people who are around me that are pregnant, especially the ones that, a little bit in their the ones that are in their early stages of pregnancy, I talk about their health. This is the next point. What is your health condition currently? A lot of us don't do checkups. We don't go to the hospital. We use bread and the wine, Holy Communion. Great. But there's a reason why we need to go to hospitals for checkups, guys. Guys, don't forget that during pregnancy, let's say, I don't know the statistics, but let's say that about 80% of women generate random stuff, like their body just comes up with random stuff during pregnancy. From high blood pressure to carpal tunnel to spinal pain to skin disease to vitiligo. Like, there's so many things that pregnancy can do to your physical body. Guys, like, I cannot begin to describe how important it is to know exactly. I'm actually very grateful concerning like my health that I have a husband who is just a health freak, conscious eater. I mean, he has not always been like this, but he was just always suspicious that we're not doing the best with our eating. And to be honest, if Aka had another job, he'd probably be a herbalist, because this guy is always like mixing things, oregano here, garlic there, he's eating ginger, he's pretty much doing the things that our forefathers used to do. But to be honest, these things work. Like, I literally watch him make like turmeric teas for flus and stuff. So when I was pregnant, guys, this man ensured that I did not consume any processed food except bread. Like, I could only get away with bread. A few times, like, I would try things, because he too was learning about it. But I know for a fact that you don't want to be eating anyhow during your pregnancy, or even be completely unaware of what your health currently is like, and then enter pregnancy and then they say high blood pressure, God forbid. So I would suggest check your health and start working on yourself. Make your body, prepare your body for what your body is going to be doing. I know we talked a little bit on emotional readiness, but guys, I cannot overflog it. There's so many times where you would be stressed and very frustrated. You need to be able to know how you can process your breathing exercises, how you can go through meditation. What steps would you take to ensure that you are not emotionally depleted? One thing that I wish I knew earlier is putting that amount of pressure and expectation of my husband to ensure that I'm emotionally stable. Like, if I'm not joyful or if I'm frustrated, I feel like, oh, it's because he didn't. Guys, we are completely responsible for our emotions. To also talk about like maybe the expectations that you have from yourself and your partner regarding like how you're going to handle connecting with the baby. I struggled initially with connecting emotionally with my child. And I know that, a lot of women have had this experience and somehow sipped into postpartum depression from there. But I'm actually really grateful that I didn't. And I owe it to me keeping my mind in my work, because as you already know, I love working. I love my career. I love creating. And so that's one thing that constantly fueled me. Honestly, just reminding yourself that you cannot do this mothering thing alone. You need the help of God. You need the help of people. And so this would help remove the stress. And consider the fact that even though you're prepared or you've prepared for it, you've never done it before. Every child is different. Every pregnancy experience is different. Every post-pregnancy is different. So guys, like, put less expectations, but stay prepared. I've also touched on this, but I would say parenting philosophy is also one thing that you guys need to decide, you and your partner need to decide what exactly your values are with raising a child. You cannot do good cop, bad cop. Everybody is good cop, everybody's bad cop in my own house. And I believe that works, because then your child understands that they cannot bypass certain things. I see videos, random things on social media where a parent is correcting and then the other parent is saying, oh, no, or they're just not aligned. And it actually pisses me off, because I know how that would affect the child later in the future. You also definitely need to talk about discipline. How are you going to discipline this child? How are you going to do this? Are you going to be spanking? Are you going to be using words? What methods are you going to, apply with your children? The next point is your lifestyle changes. So I don't know what your financial, situation is like, but I know that sometimes when a child comes in a picture, you have to adjust. So just like I had said with our health, we had to adjust. I had to adjust specifically because I really didn't really care much about like the things I ate. Where I come from, my own family, we're very slim. We're for the most part very healthy. We eat sugar, we eat candy, we eat a lot of sweet things. We don't look at the back of a pack of whatever thing we're buying. We just open it, we eat it. Aka, for the most part, also didn't have, a much different experience, but he's had more fears because of the kind of family he's from. And so that has made him adapt new lifestyle. We're very conscious now. We don't use granite oil or, seed oils. He's very Is thinking a lot about grass-fed things, is looking at the fruits we're eating, the vegetables, how we clean them, the kind of meat we're eating, the kind of milk. Sometimes he even makes the cheese in the house. Sometimes he makes the yogurt in the house. Like, our lifestyle is changing. And so there needs to be a lot of discussion as to what you are going to be doing. How are you guys going to adapt? How are you guys going to unite? How are you going to drop some of your bad habits and pick up new ones? If you are a very antisocial person, you don't connect as well with many people, having a child, it's going to be obvious in your relationship with that child. So you will need to change your lifestyle. You don't want your child to also just be a homebody or whatever. You need to go out, help the child explore and see life. For the most part, when we're having children, we're really thinking about them having a better life than we did. And so I'll urge you to look at ways to expand your horizon and do more for your family. And finally, having a child is a long-term commitment. This child is not just going to disappear. You're not going to be able to return this child. There is no refund. It is literally as you enter inside, you are going to deliver the child, and the child is yours forever and ever and ever and ever and ever. Hopefully, and by God's grace, the child will not die before you. So you will see the child's children. It's a lifetime commitment. I just need to pause there so that you can really think about it. Don't get carried away with, oh, we're 1 year into the marriage. If you guys have agreed that you're going to have certain goals, these are the plans, side things we want to do in our home before we have a child, guys, stick to the plan. Stick to the plan, except if you've heard from God. On that one, I'm not going to fight with you, but I just want to remind you that this is a lifetime commitment. You would need to build a lot of endurance. You would need to be supportive. You would need to be loving. You would need to come out of yourself. You would need to work on your traumas. You would need to become a better person for this child every day. And in all these things that I've highlighted, you also need to think about the spiritual implications as well. You need to have a spiritual life. You need to be grounded in Christ. You need God. So consider all these steps and make a very informed decision. Take out time to evaluate all these things and maybe have very honest conversations with your partner. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. This will help many people see other types of videos like this from me. Please like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments section if there's anything that you want to add to this. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you in my next video on Clearly Speaking.